Today we're having a conversation with Miss Adacia Coleman. Adacia Coleman is the proprietor of Limitless Lenders. You would be aware that Limitless Lenders has been in the press for quite some time now. As of January of 2025, Limitless Lenders has been in the press. Ms. Coleman is currently before the courts on 2 charges so far of fraud. 6 of those matters are fresh now in the court. The first 2 were dismissed, I understand. 6 more have been filed against her. My information is that there is a pending, there are pending matters before the courts. I think 86 more charges, as far as I'm aware, of fraud. Miss Coleman, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak with you.
Thank you, Travis.
And initially we agreed that you have no problem with this interview being uploaded anywhere.
I don't.
Tell me about how you got into this trouble.
I would like to start from the beginning.
Of course.
Of February 2024. Now, at this point, I started Limitless Lenders with a goal to provide ownership of vehicles to persons who may not be able to come up with the full amount of money. Now, I've approached several dealers with the option of me bringing more persons to their business, where I basically at that point would take the risk of having to pay installments to them to complete those payments, and persons would rent those vehicles with the option of own it later. At this point, I would have had a school in existence for about 3 years. And from there, we started this business along that line. Now, at the point in February, we would have produced 1 vehicle at that time. Now, in February, a group of officers, along with a bunch of East Indian persons I've never met, came to my office. And they said that they gave me money to purchase a vehicle, and I'm supposed to give them the vehicle the next week. Now, I've never met these individuals. They said I had an office in Diamond. I never had an office in Diamond. And I gave them the money. One of them even shouted at me, saying, yes, I'm one of the persons you scammed. Now, the police collect all my documents. They collected my devices. They collect everything, stamps, everything, leaving me crippled. I couldn't do business at that point. I couldn't communicate with clients. So I used social media to I did live videos to explain everything what's going on at this time. Now, what harmed my business at that point is when the police started to call my clients, hinting that they've been scammed. So after that, a lot of persons, of course, requested refunds. And we gave them those refunds. And like I said, we only had 1 vehicle out at that time. Others understood because I was very transparent online, and they started, they waited. Because I had a 28 waiting period at that time. This which allowed us to gather funds to purchase the vehicles and so forth. Now, before that, one of the dealers that we did go to was Primo's. Now, I know Primo from the university days, so I know her. I'm very familiar. So I said, okay, this is an old friend. I'm going to give her the business. I gave her a total about 18 million.
80 million?
18.
18 million.
I have receipts of that.
Right.
And her explanation at that point was she had these vehicles. I didn't know that she did down payments. I thought she brought in and she sold. So she had these vehicles on the wharf, and she was having issues clearing the vehicles. She was also having issues with GRA and payments to supplier. So I would have given her monies for this. And that is when I learned after that she had a backlog of clients, and they got the vehicles, and also maybe she used them for refunds and things like that, and she was carrying on. Well, a little later, she was more transparent about that.
Okay.
So I ended up going to other dealers, gave them the model that some agreed, some said, okay, let's try it out. Let me give you a few, like 2 and 3, and let's see how this goes. Others were more up to it, like they allowed me to make weekly payments, like they're looking at how the funds are coming, and they provided more vehicles for me. Right?
We'll come back in a bit to Primo's Auto. You have a dealership license?
No, I'm not a dealer.
Okay. What license do you have to operate?
I have a business registration. The model is rent to own. So I rent the vehicles. I am not selling it right off the bat.
Right.
So after that is when, like a period of 5 years, persons can purchase the vehicle from me.
So you had any arrangement with the Guyana Revenue Authority prior to having your business registration?
No, it wasn't required. It wasn't required for that model of the business. Yeah, it's not required for that.
Did you do a tax audit of your business before you operationalized?
If I like file taxes and so forth, yes, I did, but I got a letter from them saying I didn't.
Right. So,
I used the guy that actually was helping me out with that.
So you see what I'm asking,
I have conversations with that. Yes, I have conversations showing. And because I showed him a letter, I said, you're supposed to file these taxes. And he said, oh, let me check. Like, he's I kind of get like I was maybe scammed in that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But I can show you receipts for that.
So how much do you owe the GRE?
I am not certain.
The letter that they dispatched to you, they did not say how much that
No, they did not say. No. But it should have been filed.
It should have been filed.
It should have been up to date, actually.
So after an internal review of limitless lenders, how many people do you owe and how much?
It's over 150 persons.
150 persons?
Correct. Yes.
How much money?
I would say it's roughly ranging over 100 million.
Over 100 million?
Correct.
Miss Coleman, how do you intend to repay this money?
Now, I do have several vehicles out there of where I collect monthly installments. Now, I spoke to most of my clients. I got them to agree to payment plans where we would pay them bi-weekly and they would accept a small amount. And as persons drop, because everybody's money is not the same. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of persons were on payment plans where they would just bring money until they reach a down payment and then we put you on order. So as persons like that drop off, we add somebody else to the list. Now we have decided that at this point we need to go into other businesses or something else to get funds. I do have family members helping me as well to help pay this back as fast as possible. I do intend to pay it back as fast as possible. I don't want to say, okay, I don't want to pay. That's not the issue. It's just that it's going to take some time for me to pay all of that. Because when all of this blew up, remember I've been making deposits. I would have lost those deposits. So now I have to regenerate those funds.
So how much money in total you think you would have lost?
The lot of it.
Which is, lost. You must have a total. You're dealing with numbers.
It's about that. It's about the same. I can't give you, I can't send that via email or something. Let me check it up so I can give you an accurate figure. So
you don't know how much money you lost?
I won't be able to say right now. And
do you know how much money, one second, do you know how much money you would have invested?
Yes, I've invested over 100 million.
Over 100 million?
Yes, I would have lost the 18 million from Primos. I would have also lost deposits from active vehicles, and I would have lost the mini 300, 400 investments.
So you invested 100,000, 100 million, you owe over 100 million. Where's your profit?
Well, the profit is over time. Indeed, it is over time.
What does that mean?
Because I don't have to pay all of the money at once. So it was a gradual process.
But at the end of the day, when you calculate, you must know what your intended profit is.
Yeah.
So it's basically you're operating at a loss.
I wouldn't say that.
What would you say?
Well, at that point, yes, because I would have lost some of the funds already. So over time, as we pack more things, we expected to gain more. I should say I expected to gain more.
All right. You worked with 6 staff from your premises.
It's more than 6. They interchange. It's about 10. I had a total of about, let me see, about 7 to 8 persons.
7 to 8 staff?
Yes.
How did you pay them?
I paid them weekly.
Weekly?
Yes.
Who was the highest paid staff? How much was the highest paid staff?
They got 120 a month.
120,000?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you pay them? Like, do you owe any of them? I mean, I'm trying to figure out.
No, I don't owe any of them. No.
None of them? None of them are complainants or have filed complaints to the NIS for you?
No, I don't owe them. No.
Very well.
I have money. Well, I don't have money for them because with the teachers, because remember I had a school as well. That when I was locked up, the teachers continued to, some of them, which in my deputy at the time told them, y'all gotta know what y'all want to do because these children are preparing for exams. What are you gonna do?
What's the name of your school?
Limitless School of Life.
Limitless School of Life.
Yes.
Okay. Persons reported paying for vehicles and you issued them with receipts.
Correct.
And promised delivery within 3 months.
Correct. 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months.
Yes.
That never happened.
No.
Why is that?
Now, we started having this issue in May remember we were sourcing all the time. We started having that issue in May where there was a hurricane and there was delays of vehicles. We couldn't find
Hurricane where?
I'm not certain where exactly at that point.
I call you Prim all the time, but I know Miss Coleman.
Yeah.
This is your business.
Yes.
You're operating this business. You know the ins and outs of this business.
Yeah.
You don't know where the hurricane was?
I can't recall where, at that time, there was hurricanes that stopped the shipments of vehicles. Now, remember, I'm not personally shipping these vehicles. These were the explanation that I got. Yes.
Okay.
So some of them took like 6 months to come, right? I could even provide that information to you, right? Some of them took like 6 months to come. But we realized, okay, it's getting difficult to get them here because the dealers are not getting the specific types of vehicles. So we changed the structure because remember, it was 28 days locally. So we changed the structure to let's get it online. So at least at that point, we have secured it. So we just got to wait until it gets here, right?
That's a longer waiting period.
Yes, it's a longer waiting period. I explained this. I have videos explaining my business model online, right? I said, okay, we'll wait this period. Now, of course, it made me be able to get more because I don't have to put up a larger sum. It's like 30% of the online costs. And I pay that and I continue to pay weekly, give them funds. Some would take monthly payments, and that's how I would do it. Sometimes they would send me an email, oh, they lost this because the payment was not secured in time and things like that.
So how many vehicles do you have for people right now?
In terms of all vehicles to them?
Yes.
Well, it can be about the same 100 and something persons.
Right. So you have 100 and something vehicles outstanding.
No.
Good. So how many vehicles do you have? Not monies. How many vehicles?
No, I've lost all of those. I have active vehicles on the road, which is like about 6 something. I have like 35 bikes on the road as well. 60
something vehicles.
Correct. Active on the road.
So none of the vehicles that you had ordered.
Yes.
You can't get them.
I can't get them because I would have to finalize payments for them.
So where are those vehicles now, really?
I guess sold. Most of them sold. Or maybe
how does that work? Have you made down payments for the vehicle?
Yes, I've made down payments.
So how have you lost a down payment for a vehicle?
That's the agreement. If they pay and you don't pay within a certain time, you forfeit all the deposits.
And you were not making the money from the vehicles that you have rented?
No, I wasn't able to come up with it.
Is it true that you were buying vehicles in your name from other dealers?
That's the rent-to-own aspect of it.
Tell me a little bit about that, please.
When the rent-to-own, remember the vehicle is going to be owned to me, right? Until the person can pay me off, and that's when we convert it into their names. So it's rent-to-own. So it's not theirs. It'll be in my name, I have full authority over it. And then at the end of the period, that is when we would do like a transfer of registration over to them.
So the rent-to-own basis would mean that the different models of vehicles, different price range.
Yeah, they're different price range, correct.
What's the highest amount that you receive from a vehicle?
In terms of installments?
Correct, ma'am.
200,000, sorry.
200,000.
Correct.
And they pay that monthly?
Yes.
Okay. So since you have been incarcerated, I understand you were remanded. Yes. So since you have been incarcerated, no payment was made?
Yes, in terms of to dealers?
Rent-to-own, yes.
We mean no payments was made. Like,
were any payments made?
2.
You still have vehicles on the road. You said you have about 20-something bikes.
Oh, from clients?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, when I was incarcerated, only like a few persons, not much, were making installments. Their excuse was they're afraid to make their payments. They don't know who they have to make their payments to. But when I came out in February, I reached out I let them know, okay, this is how you're going to be making payments and so on. And some still continue to not pay because with the bikes, I only have 3 persons paying for all the bikes that I have on the road. And those are fully paid off for.
So the vehicles that you have on the road and the bikes that you have on the road, you have completed paying for them?
Not for, I still have about 7 of them that I'm still paying for.
Right. So aren't the dealers coming after you for their money?
No. Well, the ones that did already got their vehicle back.
Okay. So how many vehicles have been repossessed?
A total of 10 vehicles.
10 vehicles repossessed?
Yes, correct.
So why don't you go after them who owe you money so that you can clear off?
I do.
Legally?
I do. I don't have to go after them legally because when I tried that, they said I have, like when I go to the station to see what is up, they said, okay, it's your vehicle, just go get it.
I was coming to. You can basically seize the vehicle.
Yes.
And
well, the issue with to some of them, they have fake addresses. They have, it's hard sometimes to find some of them, but we do over time, but it's a process. It takes longer, but I do go after them.
Did you issue post-dated checks to anyone?
Yes, I did. In the month of November. The reason I issued post-dated checks is so that we would have enough time to generate the funds to give back refunds. We try to spread it out. Now, what some persons did is try to cash those post-dated checks. I had a total of 16 persons try to cash those post-dated checks. About 16 persons.
21.
21? I don't know about cashing it. I have more than 16 checks.
Right.
But about 16 of them tried to cash the post-dated check.
21 of them tried to cash.
Which led the bank to close the account. I didn't know the bank closed the account at that time. So even when persons went after, the check would bounce. Because I didn't even know it was closed at that time.
You know, issuing a bounce check is a crime.
Yes.
So how do you intend to deal with that now?
I'm doing it the same way where I give persons payment plan and I try to.
Okay. So where do we go from here? You have about, I am told, more than 80 more charges awaiting you. How were the 2 dismissed? The initial 2
we settled those accounts, yes.
And how much was it?
It was a total of 900 and something thousand, almost $1 million.
Are you in debt right now?
I am.
Over 100 and something million?
I am.
Aren't you scared? How does one owe so much money?
I have an issue too where when I came out of prison and all my accounts were closed, I saw funds being transferred from my account to other accounts. And I raised this issue and it leads me to wonder, did I receive all of this money? I am not trying to cancel anybody's debt. You got a receipt from me, I'm going to try to pay it.
Right.
But it raised a question, did I actually get all of that money?
So you were not monitoring your accounts?
At the time, I had a staff who was in control of that account because I'm out. I'm usually not in the office. I'm out basically trying to get vehicles. I even would bring some of them down myself and things like that. Some would be delivered to me.
So how much money did you see that were missing from your account?
The ones that I can prove, it's almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million. This was prior to you being in prison, that this money entered your account? Prior to you being in prison, this money entered your account?
You mean entered my account? No. I'm talking about the transfer of the funds.
No. We didn't get to the transfer yet. You said almost $1 million.
Was missing.
Is missing from your account. Yeah. This $1 million, did it enter your account before you went to prison?
Yes, before, yeah.
Not before these checks that were issued?
No, not before that, no.
Okay, so it was after.
No, sorry. The money that I'm talking is over a period of time.
Over a period of time.
So it's not one time all this money. Okay. I'm seeing like a 30,000, a 50,000, a 60,000, things like that.
And this period was before?
Before the checks, correct.
Before the checks.
Before September.
So these are before?
From September up, yes.
So these were before the checks?
Correct, before the checks.
So none of the checks that you issued were over $1 million?
Over $1 million. One of the checks, yes, I think was $1 million, yes.
Okay, so if you had money in your account that could have paid...
No, that's not how the bank works with my account.
No, hold on. If you knew that you had money in your account totaling $1 million, and Tom Jones is owed $100,000, and John Doe is owed $300,000. Why didn't you just write a check for that amount?
Now, the way I'm paid is via MMG, right? Or I should say used to, because they closed the account. When the payment is made, it doesn't go to the account right away. There's a process, and I think it takes like 3 days, and then it's deposited from them to my account.
Right.
So monies is not, I'm not being paid by clients through the bank.
Right.
So we would have to physically go there and put funds in there. If I'm to issue a refund, I have to physically go to the bank and put the money there.
So here's what I'm asking again. Today's Monday.
Yes.
You owe me, because of limitless lenders, $300,000. You have $1 million in your MMG. Yes? I want this money. And you're going to say to me, you're going to go to the bank with me or go to the bank on Friday. That is more than 3 days. Why were the checks still bounced?
Okay, so let's go to how the checks were issued in the first place. So we had staff call clients to come on the 21st to pick up vehicles. Or I think it was November, 21st of November, to come pick up vehicles that were not there. And this was a lot of persons that came to the office there. Now, when they got there, it was no vehicles, so people started riling up. And well, I already had my checks signed. And the staff just filled in their information and gave them a post-dated check, because remember, we don't have the fund to give all of these people at one time. So what we did is estimated when we think we would have the fund. That's when we give everybody. So everybody got a different date, because at one date we can't give all, we're not going to get so much money at this date. So some persons may have had the 27th. Some person would have had checks till the 31st of January and things like that. So I think those were the 2 days.
You know, that doesn't really answer the question, but I am going to allow it. You said the bank closed their accounts?
They closed their account in December.
Okay, with how much money inside?
There wasn't, I think, $300 and some thousand. I think they refunded me. I think it was that. I'm not sure.
They gave you that money and then they closed.
They closed the account. Yes. Because the money came to them after, I guess, they closed it. Because like I said, it's not deposit. There wasn't money in. There's money don't be in the account.
I understand.
When money is there, it's withdraw to pay dealers. So we don't keep money unless we have a refund to give.
Okay. You have an attorney? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. How would you respond to the allegation? It's all over Facebook that you're a criminal. How would you defend that?
My intentions was to help people in the first place. Everything I do, from my school right up, I try to target a certain demographic of people. And it's unfortunate how things turned out, because I feel attacked, and I've been attacked even before I even knew I was being on that attack. From the police to persons working for me, now the clients, who rightfully, I understand their frustration, and the seed has already been planted that my intentions was to scam. My intention was never to scam anybody. I've been putting in the work to get this stuff for them. Because they say fraudulent conversion, where you take the money to put towards your own use. The use is to get vehicles. That's the use, right? I don't live a lavish life. I don't live an expensive life. Everything I do it with the intention that, because my whole idea is to make an impact. That people may say, yeah, you did this or you did that. That's basically my ego there. That's what I wanted. When somebody collects a vehicle from me, I get so excited, and we post it. Even if you run my page and you look at the vehicles where we're giving it out to somebody, you hear how excited I get. And I'll be like, hey, give me the limitless blow. Give me the limitless blow. Get the limitless blow.
How many vehicles have you delivered since you started this business?
Over, you got to say 70 if you include all the ones that were repossessed.
Over 70. Remember, I asked you this question earlier,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Okay, over 70. So you were in court now. How do you intend to pursue these matters that you have in the courtroom? There are a lot of cases.
Well, as cases come up, which I'm hoping that, well, at this point, because I was very afraid of the judge at first, because he's a very tough judge. And
magistrate, which
the magistrate, sorry, the magistrate. And my thing was that I hope they don't put me on some ridiculous bail, and then I'm left to not be able to do anything. And I'm noticing the judge, he is more of, okay, you're going to be settling these matters, right? And so as they come up, he asks how I'm proceeding with it, and I said, this is what I'm doing. As cases come up, I settle them. I try to go to the client to offer an arrangement, and we go forward from there. So I'm hoping I could continue to do that.
You're hoping that you can settle all of these matters?
Settle all the matters, correct.
Over 100 million?
Correct, yes.
How much did you start the business with?
I started it with 25, sorry, about roughly 25 million. So I got it through loans, I got it through persons investing, I got it through hire purchase agreements as well.
And you have paid back those loans?
Yes, I have. And
you're okay with the banks now in terms of what about your investors? Are they okay?
Well, most of the investors are close to me. So they're not pressuring me. Even one of the dealers I'm really good with, he's not pressuring. He understands because he said he's been in a similar situation as well. So he's more willing to assist in terms of offering me more stuff so we could get this resolved.
So you got like about $150 million in debt. Is there anything you'd like to say specifically to the persons who will be watching this interview and are affected because of your actions, maybe?
I would just like to let them know. I would just like everyone to know that I am working on it. I know a lot of persons have been patient. Some are getting extremely out of patience. And my goal is to return your monies, however necessary. However, we have to do it. I'm going to get it done, and those monies will be returned.
You understand, though, this year, that if the police are instructed to charge you again, you're going to be arrested and charged again.
Yeah. Can I add a little light to how
you can add
this all started? Like, I've had my clients trust me. They were waiting. And this, like I mentioned, from February, they brought people I don't know. And I've had a friend who was a victim of that as well. He's a soldier. He was a victim of that crime. So he knew it wasn't me. And I showed him a picture of the person who came to my office saying that I took the money. When he looked at the cover photo, one of the girls in the cover photo was a staff at that place. So now I'm wondering, why would the police bring the people to my office claiming that I took money and they know that it wasn't so? And then in December, I was arrested again. I was placed on what is called recognizance in December again. Lying to the court saying they've been looking for me like if I'm hiding from since November. And you have me arrested in December. Why is it calling my clients to create fear and telling my clients to come to the station? Because my clients did not went to the station of their own. They were called to the station to make a report against me. So this is how it all blew up. Everybody was waiting. I was talking to my clients. And then they started to call clients and tell them, hey, you've been scammed. You need to make a report. Then this thing blew up on social media. Now you're telling people they're being scammed. Everybody's going to believe this. But the reality is I do have more clients for me than against me because a lot of them understand what happens. I have clients who haven't even went to the station. Right? Like I mentioned with the charges, people, when you hear 8 or something, you hear 9, I heard it was 90 something first. When you hear 90 something charges, it's not 90 something people.
So they charge you per check?
They charge me per check, per receipt, correct. So like I mentioned, I have clients who are in payment plans. So you would find persons coming every now and again to make a payment. Say if somebody got 5 payments, that's 5 charges.
Right.
So they did, and that's how they got to remand me too, because they told the judge they had like 50. Because the number keep changing. I don't know. I keep asking the police, can you please just give me a list so I could I have persons willing to wait. Can you give me the list so I can prioritize the persons that may get me in trouble, that I may not be able to make any more payments if I get into this kind of trouble?
So when you went to court, the charges were read to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to have been read. It is alleged that on so date,
Mm-hmm.
It
was 2 charges.
You defrauded and then the person's name.
Correct.
So why didn't you make a list, or your lawyer should have a copy of that?
2 persons' names were called.
Right. So
we don't know who the other persons are until it calls in court.
Your lawyer can make that request and have it.
Well, I learned that recently. Mm-hmm.
Ms. Coleman, I wish you all the best. I hope you have gotten to say all that you wanted to say. And with the questions I've asked, it was just to add a little light to see
Mm-hmm.
exactly where this limitless lender's business is,
mm-hmm.
and all of this. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Like I've mentioned, we are trying to resolve it. We are trying to dive into maybe other things, because the way clients are paying right now too, it's a bit pressuring for me, because sometimes if I'm expecting a certain amount of money and they don't, then I can't go forward with my payment schedule with other persons. So I need to make sure I secure the funds first before I even put people on plans. Right? I am working my best. Sometimes midnight I'm on the road. People are putting it out there that I am hiding. I'm not hiding from anybody. If I'm there and people call for me, I go out, I speak with them. There was a guy recently. I normally have a Zoom meeting every other Wednesday to try to gather everybody there so we can discuss. Of course, some person will be like, I don't want anything to do with any Zoom meeting. I'm not no part of no group. I don't want to. But I have my Zoom meetings to keep persons up to this. So I let them know, oh, hey, I've been able to add so many persons this week. Just hold on. We're going to try to add some more at this time.
Is it true that your life is being threatened?
It is. I've had persons threaten to behead me, behead my brother, threaten my son, said I'm going to end up like my dead mother who died last year, January. And I don't respond. I have a sister-in-law who normally would curse them out, like if they come with that thing. But I'm not into responding to things like that.
Why don't you make a formal police report?
I have made reports to the station. The reality is, people say I paid the police. I don't even have the money to pay them. I'm going to pay the police, right? The police don't take any report I make seriously. They don't.
At which station?
Lenora Police Station.
They don't?
They do not take any report.
How many reports you've made at Lenora?
I have about 5 reports so far at the station. My brother has one. He has another one going. But at this point, we've just been advised to make the report so that it's there, even though we're not going to do anything.
Have you gotten, you've given statements to the police regarding?
We've given statements. I even made reports in February, I made reports against the police and the person that came by me. Nothing happened.
Okay.
Since February, last year, February.
Can you get a copy of these reports to me?
I asked, they said that they don't do that.
Okay. Your attorney should be able to get a copy.
Request, okay. Okay, I will.
Okay.
I've lost some, I've given a report of stolen vehicles. I had money in the vehicle the day before court inside of this vehicle with documents. So I have to apply for a lot of loss registration as well. I give the police the name of the person that stole it. I show them the video recording of them stealing it. I show them where the person is working, the person's works. I give them everything. They said to me they have to forward it to East Rumfeld Station. And I know people at East Rumfeld Station. I asked them if the report has come there. They said no. They lie to me and tell me, yes, they forwarded it, but they don't take any of my reports. So
what's happening with your friend at Primo Auto Imports?
Now, with her, I mean, what's happening with her? I think she's still locked up. I think she's still locked up. I'm not certain.
You're not certain?
No.
She owes you all these vehicles and all this money, and you have not.
What's happening.
You have not.
I don't know what's happening with her.
You got to be careful. You got to be careful, Ms. Coleman.
What's happening?
I mean, I would have pursued her to find out, what's happening with these vehicles. Are you going to repay?
I have. She actually gave me one vehicle,
One out of how many?
Out of, it's supposed to be 30 vehicles.
Isn't that some number?
Yeah.
1 out of 30.
Remember I told you it was plans, right? Like we were supposed to do it that way, but she didn't prioritize me. She gave the person she had waiting.
Right.
I didn't know she had those persons waiting. She gave them. But the Paso, I can't register it I can't do anything with it. So it's just like I have nothing.
Ms. Coleman, I wish you all the best.
Mm-hmm.
I thank you very much for speaking with me. I will be broadcasting this interview so that persons can get to hear your side of the story.
Yes.
So in essence, you're asking persons who you owe over 100 million.
Just hold on. Just hold the faith for me.
Hold on.
Just hold the faith for me. Correct.
Thank you.